Thank you, and good morning again to everyone. Welcome to our council session. Our warden, I think, is still with us, but won't be able to be with us all day. He's a busy man doing some AMO things today, so you have second fiddle for now. To begin, I just want to say, if a fly lands on my head and stays there for about 5 minutes, would someone please tell me? I don't see many people laughing, which means you didn't watch the debates last night. But
well played.
So anyways, this meeting has been called to order. Madam Clerk, could we do the roll call, please?
Thank you, Deputy Warden Hicks. Councillor Mackey is running late. Councillor Gamble is not present at the time. Councillor Keaveney sends her regrets. Councillor Kentner is joining us on behalf of Councillor Keaveney, and all other council members are in attendance.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. We are on item number 3. Is there any declaration of interest? Seeing none, we'll proceed. If one does arise, I will ask you to declare it at that time. Number 4, adoption of the minutes. 4A, we're dealing with County Council and Committee of the Whole minutes dated September 24th. I have Councillor Potter moving and Councillor Patterson seconding. Is there any discussion on those minutes? Seeing none, then I will call the question. Is there anyone opposed? That's carried. Thank you very much. Item 4B, that's the Long-Term Care Committee of Management minutes, which are dated September 22nd. That is moved by Councillor Burley and seconded by Councillor Mackey. We'll have to have someone else because Councillor Mackey is not here as yet. Correct, Madam Clerk?
Correct. I see Councillor Robinson's hand.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Robinson. Is there any discussion on those minutes? Then I have a question, Mr. Warden, or Mr. Deputy Warden, rather. Councillor Milne?
Kim, I'm just wondering, you gave a verbal update on the redevelopment in Durham in that report. Were there any timelines discussed, like when things might happen or not happen? I think you're on mute, Kim.
You know, if we do this long enough, I may yet get it right. Thank you for the question. Through you, Mr. Deputy.
To hear your voice.
Through you, Mr. Deputy Warden. Council, we took possession of the property on September the 17th. We have a meeting with the province on Tuesday, to talk about next steps in the redevelopment. At this time, we're still awaiting both confirmation of the construction funding as well as the licensing of the new facility, which will come later in the process. The Committee of Management had provided support to staff to go ahead and look for some consulting resources to help us put together the vision and the supporting business case around a housing model for the property. So in this last couple of weeks, we've been talking to some experts in that field to give us a proposal so that we can bring back and discuss with all of you, so that we have the right, I think, background numbers and an understanding of market feasibilities, et cetera, so that we can move forward. Overall, what needs to happen, we need to understand the housing model and the additional uses on the site so that we can kind of develop an overall site plan. With an overall site plan, then Randy and his team can do the D6 study. We can do stormwater management. We can think about a master servicing plan, etc. So it's just kind of getting all the pieces in order. And I think, you know, that's really what will be keeping us busy over the next 6 months.
Thank you. Might I have a follow-up, Mr. Chair? Kim, so I wonder, is the intention for the Committee of Management to stick handle, so to speak, this entire project, or will there be consideration given to a building committee or development committee to actually steer this project through?
I think our intent was to bring a staff report back at our next council meeting to talk about the proposal from the consultants around developing that. And I think that's a very worthwhile discussion, because the work that we're doing right now is much broader than the long-term care facility specifically. That specific work will come later in the process. So I think we can have a good discussion about that at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions?
Mr. Deputy Warden, I just will note that Councillor Mackey has joined us.
Excellent. Welcome, Councillor Mackey. All right, I think we're ready to call the question on item 4B, Long-Term Care Committee Management Minutes dated September 22nd. Is there anyone opposed? Seeing none, I will say that that's carried. We're moving on to item 4C, CAO Performance Evaluation Committee Minutes dated September 24th. That is moved by Councillor Milne and seconded by Councillor Desai. Any discussion or questions? Seeing none, is there anyone opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Next, item D, 4D, Committee of the Whole, closed meeting minutes dated September 24th, and the Long-Term Care Committee of Management closed meeting minutes, which are dated September 22nd. That is moved by Councillor Woodbury and seconded by Councillor Potter. Any discussion on those two sets of minutes? Seeing none, I will call the question. Is there anyone opposed? That too is carried. Okay, we're moving along. We're on item number 5 now, close meeting matters. We have none.
Correct.
We can move on to item number 6, reports, the Board of Health minutes, which are dated August 28th, 2020, and September board report. Dr. Era is with us, I believe.
Correct. Mr. Warden, good morning. Mr. Warden, good morning, Council.
Good morning.
Mr. Chair, sorry. I don't know if you need a motion to put me on the floor, or I can proceed.
Yes, I apologize. Item 6, we're going to have the Board of Health minutes moved by Councillor Patterson and seconded by Councillor Milne. You have the floor now, Dr. Era.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you. So in terms of updates from the last board report, the main item was the school reopening, and there are different ways to address the different parts of it. It's a complex subject, but instead of starting with the issues that we ironed out, probably I will start with the good news. At the time, we had 90% of the kids in the school, and the description that I received from Director of Education and Directors of Education and school principals that they're happy kids. So 90% of the families in Grey Bruce are well served by the school system. Today, to just keep the update on the same subject, we have absenteeism rate around 5%. So that's an improvement from that point of view. And there are many issues that were related to school reopening, whether it's some shortage of hand sanitizer or PPEs, miscommunication or less than optimal communication related to the guidelines, just because they're changing and they're coming from different parts, whether it's from the province or different ministries, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, and local public health. However, all in all, the process have been corrected. All these challenges are being addressed or have been addressed. And we found that there was some anxiety related to testing and the access to testing in Grey Bruce. That was the main source of anxiety to families, to parents. And it comes from two distinct sources, to the best of our assessment. One was the raising anxiety related to the raising numbers in the province, and that was addressed with communication or multiple communications. The second one is was related to the application of the screening tool. So the screening tool is sound scientifically and came from the province to everybody. However, the application of it has been or was stringent at the time. So there were a couple of things to correct, whether communication or introducing electronic screening tool. So that was corrected. We were left with another variable, which is access to testing in Grey Bruce. And we've been working with the hospital CEOs and the physician leaders in assessment centers. Last week, the issue was had a trend of positive correction. And that was last week, and I can give the exact numbers where the issues were. This week, I presume, or I project the assessment, the survey that we're gonna run or currently running is gonna result in access to testing within 24 hours to almost all families in Grey Bruce. The survey, and I will circulate to the CEO to circulate to the group after, from last week indicated that 80% of the families were tested. 10 had to go to a different site, some of it outside of Grey Bruce, and 10%, the other 10%, just simply gave up on testing and went the isolation route to isolate their kids for 14 days, which was very, we did not meet the health need of the community, I believe, as a system. It's worth mentioning that assessment centers are not under public health guidance. However, we work with the hospitals to ensure that that service is corrected. The solution, and I apologize for laboring the subject, it's just not a simple, straightforward one. The solution has been implemented in the past 10 days, which is increase the number of hours per day and increase the number of days per week, including the weekends. And all assessment centers just very recently went to testing over the weekend. And I do believe this week result is going to be very positive, and that will be correction for it. So that's the main item from the board meeting, Mr. Chair. If there is time, I would like to update the council on 3 quick items that happened since then.
Perhaps first,
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said, Mr. Chair.
my apologies. I was just asking if council had any questions.
Councillor Desai has his hand up.
Councillor Desai?
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Warden. Quick question for you to Dr. Era. We are noticing an increase in the number of cases, but hand in hand, we've also noticed an increased amount of testing. Is there any relevance in the number of positive tests as a percentage of the total number of tests? Is that a relevant number at all? Or should we be, in fact, rolling back to previous phases, provincially as well as locally, just because of the increased number of cases?
That's an excellent question, and definitely there is a connection or a relevance between the number of tests conducted and the number of cases, and that might give some reassurance that the numbers that we're seeing right now comparing to the spring might not be much different, if or much could be lower relatively in numbers. However, there are other metrics that we look at. One of them is the shape of the curve, the doubling time. And regardless of the number of tests that are conducted, if we see that there is exponential increase, that's what really matters. So although in the numbers, if we go to the 3,000 tests per day in April, we might not see 600 cases in Ontario, we might see 200. However, doubling from 80 cases a few weeks ago to 600 right now is very equivalent to doubling from 20 to 200 if we go to the other metric. So it is still concerning, and specifically the doubling time being shortened and the exponential increase in cases regardless of the absolute number.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I don't have any, well, actually, I do have one further question. Are we looking locally? I know provincially, the Premier made the announcement that we're eliminating the 10-person bubble and we're going back to single household bubbles only. Are we looking at doing any, are we looking locally to go back to previous phases ourselves?
But currently, we're not looking at going back to previous phases. There has been a discussion provincially that is it needed or not, and universally MOHs would say at this point probably it's not needed. We have experience with the management of this outbreak from the past 7 months that would say we can control it without going to the extreme measures. Nevertheless, if the situation changes in the coming 3-4 weeks, we might see the possibility to going back to stage 2. However, I don't believe this is a situation, especially for us in Grey Bruce.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I don't see any other hands, so maybe I'll ask Dr. Era to proceed. You mentioned there are a few other issues you wish to update us on.
Certainly, the mask mandate, it has 2 sub-items. The first one was the direction from council to staff and the health unit to collaborate on drafting a mask bylaw. And I know firsthand a lot of effort went into that process from the legal team and from the staff. We managed to iron out most of the wrinkles. The one challenge that was somehow prohibitive or practically prohibitive was not related to enforcement like most of us presumed early on. It was related to exemptions, and more specifically, if we include an exemption process, there's always the risk of a challenge to the decision, which would entail legal risk to the county and the health unit, and workload risk. Whether an exemption was granted or not, there is potential for what I understand from our legal judicial review, which is a lengthy process that might cost time-wise and dollar-wise. It was not an easy challenge to overcome. So at the time, we decided to hold that process and keep the draft for later if it is needed. Nevertheless, as you know, last week we had the announcement from the province that an order from the province to mandate masks is in place. It's worth mentioning that there was a solution, whether it's continuing with the MOH order or a letter of instruction, which is another legal vehicle to mandate masks. Regarding the provincial mandating mask, it's in general very similar to the rules that we had in the Section 22 MOH order. There are a few exceptions. One of them is the word shall be mandated, or a person shall use the mask instead of best effort. And some other exemptions related to churches, hospitals are not existent in this new order. Nevertheless, practically to a citizen, they're quite comparable, and there isn't much difference for our citizens to follow, or residents. So that's the 2 items on the mask. There was a community cluster identified in East Grey, and I am confident the team of contact tracers have managed to follow everybody who has been identified as a high risk and low risk. And we've seen conversion from some of these individuals to cases over the past weeks. It's coming to an end that cluster is contained, and we're hoping for the best, preparing for the worst, but I suspect it wouldn't be many cases if it's related to it going forward. Nevertheless, it was a wake-up call to some people that we're not out of the woods yet, and we cannot let our guards down. That's my update, Mr. Chair. Open to questions as always.
Of course. Are there any questions from council members?
You see Councillor Soever.
Thank you, Councillor Soever.
Yes. So the provincial order is very hard on the business owner, in that it says the person responsible for a business or organization that is open shall ensure that any person in the indoor area of the premises. So that's what I think your order was you know, that you have to encourage, but this says shall ensure. So some of our businesses have been concerned that this is making it very difficult for them. And so they've asked that we put our own bylaw in place, which would not be inconsistent with this, but might, you know, put some responsibility on the person entering the thing. Now, I recognize that may expose us to some legal risk, but I'm sure that there will be a case that goes to the Supreme Court before long on you know, the rights issue of wearing a mask versus protecting the health of the community at large. And you know, I would hope that maybe somebody would take that there sooner than later, but I don't see a huge risk to the individual municipality, because I do believe that there is some jurisprudence, particularly related to the Quarantine Act, that is already stated. So there is some precedent that states the safety of the community is paramount. So what would you recommend for owners of businesses if somebody says they won't wear a mask?
So
When
Dr.
they
Arrow?
have the responsibility to that they shall ensure.
So I should again emphasize I'm not in any way qualified legal counsel to mention what should be done or not. But from science point of view, from risk point of view, we see optimal compliance in the public in Grey and Bruce. Over 85, could be 90% of people are using masks. And from that point of view, if 10% did not, that would not change the equation much. The interpretation of the regulations from the province, my understanding, and we provide this interpretation, it is rightly so, like you said, it's on the business owner to ensure this happens. That might entail, you know, not allowing a person to go into the facility or asking them to leave if they remove their mask. What can they do or not do? Truly, I don't feel I'm qualified to provide advice on that one.
Mr. Deputy Warden, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Thank you for reminding me. There is some construction going on in my area here, so I did put it on mute. Any other questions, Madam Clerk? Do you see anyone's? I don't see any other hands.
No, sir, I don't see any more.
Okay, then. Dr. Ara, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're a very busy man, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you. That's very thoughtful of you. Thank you.
Okay, Council, I'll call the question. Any opposed to the motion? Seeing none, I'll say that that is carried. We are now on to item number 7, which is a delegation. And Rob, do we have our guests queued up?
We do, Mr. Chair. I'm just inviting them into the meeting.
Excellent.
And we do have one phoning in this morning, I do believe.
Is that Councillor Chigano?
No.
Our Chief
He is not
Anaquat?
able to join us.
Chief Anaquat
Or,
here.
sorry, he is on video with us today.
So,
I'm on the audio. My internet is down.
excellent. So is that Chief Anaquat?
Yes, it is.
Excellent. Thank you for being with us here today. I have a big smile on my face for you guys being here today, by the way. And Rob, do we also have Councillor Anthony Chigano?
No, this is Sydney Najwan, Councillor Sydney Najwan from the Chippewas and Awash, taking the place of Anthony Chigano.
Okay, thank you. So I want to welcome you folks here today. I'm smiling, a great big smile if you can't see me. This is a very, very good day, very exciting day. And I'm going to turn the floor over to you. I don't know who's going to go first. Is it you, Chief Anaquat?
Well, I can start. I'd just like to acknowledge the the settlement offer from Grey County, and I believe that in the spirit of cooperation, we're moving forward, and I'm quite excited about the proposal, and just looking forward to working collaboratively in the future.
Excellent. Thank you for your remarks. And Councillor Najawan?
Yes, I would like to say that this is a historical event, and in cooperation and reconciliation, trying to keep together the relationships with our neighbors, and that we are satisfied that this kind of simplifies and expedites this whole process that we've all been in for a very long time.
Excellent. Thank you, Councillor Najawan. I just want to say that this is a historical event, and I agree with you. And it's been a long time coming, and it's here. So this is a day for us all to celebrate and to form as a basis for us to move forward. I can recall a year ago or so, I was invited and welcomed to attend, and I did go to the court process on 2 different occasions. I attended the sunrise ceremonies very early in the morning, and what a gift it was to hear from your elders and to receive that historical information that's important for all of us to have. And what a gift it was as well to have the opportunity to interact with your lawyers, great group of people, and the education that they gave me and gave everyone, in fact, as well. You folks will be familiar with the map that was prominently displayed during the court process, and that almost like a comic book booklet and a summary provided by your lawyers, which told the story, which is part of that whole truth-telling. All of that information was very revealing for me personally and very educational, and it has brought us to where we are at today. So I want to thank you for having us. I did have the chance to attend. I know that there you have a housing project that was on the go with, what's the housing group that builds Habitat for Humanity? Yes. So I did get a chance to attend for a day and dirty my hands up a bit. Anyways, it's just been an absolute joy and privilege to interact with you. And I'm hoping that we have the basis now to move forward and address some of the other issues that are facing our people. Any other comments that you wish to make, Chief Anaquad or Mr. Najawan?
I appreciate your sentiments regarding our elders. They're one of our most key influential people in our communities, helping us with our decision-making process. We hold our elders in high esteem with their knowledge and their traditional cultural maintenance. So I'm glad that you enjoyed your visit with us, and I'm glad that you took some of the culture away with you. So it's the makings of a positive relationship.
Thank you. I'll invite any councillors, any comments from any councillors? Madam Clerk, I see no hands. Thank you again for your time, gentlemen.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
Good day. I should say miigwech. All right, we're on to item number 8, our 2 bylaws. They are moved by Councillor O'Leary and seconded by Councillor Carlton. Do we have any comments or discussion on these bylaws? Seeing none, then I will call the question. Is there anyone opposed? That is carried. I'm very, very happy to say that. Carried, indeed, yes. Okay, we are on to, as if we haven't had good news already, we're transitioning quite nicely into item number 9, good news and celebrations. And we're going to start off in the great municipality of Chatsworth. Councillor Mackey.
Thanks, Deputy Warden. Good morning, County Council. Well, the good news, our arenas are scheduled to be open. The ice is actually going in right now, so hopefully it's all for naught. You know, with the way things are changing, I'm hoping that we're not spending a lot of hydro dollars and then having to close them down again. But as I speak right now, all of the user groups are hoping to go ahead and are looking forward to ice time. Unfortunately, we had planned on meeting on Wednesday, yesterday, in person for our first in-person council meeting. But, you know, based on the provincial case numbers, we decided to go back to virtual, and we will continue to monitor the situation. Other than that, everything seems to be going along well in the municipality of Chatsworth. Thank you, Mr. Warden, or Deputy Warden.
Thank you. Councillor Gamble, anything to add?
Councillor Gamble is not with us today.
Oh, I guess nothing to add. We're going to move on to Georgian Bluffs. Councillor Burley.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Warden. We're still living the dream in Georgian Bluffs. We've been blessed with beautiful fall colors throughout our municipality, and we look forward to have all county councillors come to Georgian Bluffs and really enjoy it. Nothing really to report. We're just moving ahead and enjoying life. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor Carlton, anything to add?
No, thank you, Mr. Deputy Warden. I have nothing to add today.
Thank you.
The airport.
The airport's just flying. All right, next. Grey Highlands, Councillor Desai.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Warden. We are looking at opening up the Flesherton Arena. The ice has gone in, and I believe we're opening it up this coming week at some point. I can't remember the exact date off the top of my head. We are going to be hosting some community members who play on the hockey team from Dundalk, because clearly Southgate couldn't get their actions together. Councillor Milne, I'm looking at you. Grey Highland staff is looking at moving to a hybrid version of council on or around the first meeting in November, which would be the first Wednesday in November. And we had last Friday, I think, or the Friday before that. It was the day when we had, two Hanover Owen Sound Task Force meetings ago. We had the Eco Refillery grand opening, and I can't remember if I'd mentioned that in council yet. And tomorrow we're having the reopening of sorts of Susan's Deli in Markdale. And it's great because Susan's Deli has been sort of a mainstay in downtown Markdale for a while, and it had closed down. And the new owner who has taken it over, her name is Susie as well. So they've kept the name, and they've kept a lot of the things inside quite the same. I've been in there already, and they've got Portuguese custard tarts to die for. So highly recommended. That's opening to the grand opening ceremony is tomorrow. Other than that, Mr. Deputy Warden, I don't think I have anything further to add. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Desai. To sunny Hanover now, and Councillor Patterson.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. Good morning, County Council. Things are good in Hanover, and the sun is still shining. That's it.
Very brief. Good. Meaford, Councillor Clumpus.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Warden, and good morning, County Council. Just two quick updates. Our virtual MIF begins tonight, actually, with the Meaford Culture Foundation. 4 films that have been award nominated films, and you won't find them on Netflix, I'm told. And they're trying this virtually this year. We certainly missed them over the long holiday weekend in September, but they're going to give it a go over Thanksgiving weekend. The other big news for us, and we're all very excited about this, is a sort of soft grand opening for our new library on Saturday, October the 24th. So very happy to be in attendance at that one. Other than that, it has been an unsettling week for us here in Meaford. as you've all heard, but our numbers are going up, which is causing some concern. Other than that, all's good. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm trying to keep the construction noise in the background to a minimum. Councillor Kettner, anything to add?
You're on mute, Councillor Kettner. There you go.
Really like to add to Mayor Clumpus's comments, and maybe you've reported this in the past, Barb, but amazing that we have raised, I think it's over $800,000 locally in support of the new library. So I think their fundraising goal was $750,000, and a lot of naysayers said that couldn't be done, but in fact, they went right over the top. And I'm hearing amazing comments about this amazing building. It got off, you know, it was an old grocery store, but believe me, it's going to be talked about in future as a really amazing piece of architecture and parkland right in the heart of Meaford.
That is good news, Councillor Kettner. Thank you. Same thing happened, by the way, in Hanover when we were beginning fundraising for the P&H Center, and the consultants told us we didn't have the capacity to raise those kind of funds, but we went ahead and did it anyways. So bravo to you folks and the citizens of Meaford. Moving on now to Owen Sound, Councillor Boddy.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning. 4 quick things. We've got some great coverage on the Toronto Star in the last 10 days. They had a great write-up on a Indigenous artist named Emily Kiwashig that's on at the Tom Thompson Art Gallery. She's from the Saugeen First Nation. Young woman, really good artist. So it was nice to get that write-up. We, of course, probably all know that Star gave us a write-up on Dr. Era and our COVID numbers up here and the efforts we've been making, which is good advertising in the long run. We hope it doesn't mean that people think they can, it doesn't become too inviting. I know Alar's going to kill me for that, but it's Thanksgiving weekend, which means the fish are jumping in the Sydenham River, so that's always good. Go to the mill dam. We've got concerts every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday from 12 until 2 at our renewed farmers market. If you go to musicatthemarket.ca, you can find out who's playing. Coming by lunch downtown and enjoy the concert. Last bit of good news, about 10 days ago or 2 weeks ago, the building department gave out 4 building permits that totaled $42 million. Last year, our total January 1st to September 30th was 27 million. We've more than doubled that on Sound at 43 million. So it's nice to see some development coming in, and it helps us maybe bite back a little bit of our share at the Grey County level, which we're looking forward to doing. So that's our news.
Wow, that is good news, Councillor Boddy. Councillor O'Leary, anything to add?
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Warden. Good morning, County Council. Nothing more to add. Thanks.
Thank you. Moving on now to Southgate and Councillor Woodbury.
Good morning, everyone. Southgate, everything's going great down here. We're running out of industrial land. We've got so much interest in that. We've got a lot of things, the building, the going. It's just an exciting time with development and businesses that around the area. And Councillor Milne has a new daughter-in-law, so that's just made the whole world a better place for us. So everyone have a great day with it.
Thank you. Good transition to you, Councillor Milne.
Thank you, Mr. Warden, or Deputy Warden, rather. Yeah, I'm only ever going to have one daughter-in-law, and I got a good one. So other than that, everything's great in Southgate. Mr. Councillor Desai can well, I hope he has a nice day. That's all.
As always, as always. Moving on to the town of the Blue Mountains, Councillor Soever.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Warden. Yes, we've got a lot going on here. The Blue Mountain Village Association golf tournament, they managed to run it this year appropriately, socially distanced. It raised $46,000 for the Blue Mountain Village Foundation, and the Blue Mountain Village Foundation has announced that they're going to have a spring and fall, a fall grant program and a spring grant program, with the grants targeted toward organizations that need some relief due to COVID. So that is good news. Also the seniors, the Blue Mountain Village Association announced their Senior Center Without Walls program. This is a new initiative. It's a free telephone-based activity and information program, which is available to seniors who have access to a phone but not a computer or internet. It was inspired by the Seniors Without Walls program that serves several parts of the province. And this is designed to address the isolation that is imposed by COVID-19 restrictions. And it's a way to keep the seniors connected and active in the community. So what happens is there's group phone calls led by volunteer facilitators and guest presenters. And this helps the seniors stay in touch. And the weekly programs will include educational, health, wellness sessions, and fun and relaxation activities on the phone from the comfort and safety of people's homes. So this is a great new program that's being run by our BVO. So if you know of any seniors that are lonely and in the community or even in the rest of Grey County, please let them know about this program run by our BVO. And you can find more details out on the BVO website. Also, good news is that the South Georgian Bay Small Business Enterprise Center, which serves Collingwood, the town of Blue Mountains, Meaford, Clearview, Wazaga Beach, and other communities, received a grant of $75,000 from FedDev Ontario for their Digital Main Street program, which helps local businesses increase their online presence. And so they have a digital service squad, and a large number of businesses have already taken advantage of this program in its previous funding cycle. And we're very happy that it was funded again, because you know, we're in this for the long haul, and the more of a digital presence businesses can have, the better they'll do. And that's all I have. I don't know if Deputy Mayor Potter has something.
Councilor Potter?
Yes, thank you. I just, last week we learned that our a local business, Bruce Street Technologies, had applied under the provincial ICON program to extend rural broadband. They are working in partnership with some local apple growers who are planning an irrigation project. This will deliver irrigation to a lot of the new apple farms, which need more water than some of the older ones. But it also will extend fiber optic cable broadband. And this is just the beginning of what we hope will be a project that will eventually serve the whole town with the rural broadband at the standard. So we are not involved in terms of any funding for this at this point, but we are a supporter and a partner in the project. So we're very happy to see this going ahead.
Very good. Thank you, Councillor Potter, and thank you, Councillor Soever. We move now to West Grey. Councillor Robinson.
Thank you, Deputy Warden, and good morning, County Council. I'm excited to announce that Grey County Transit GTR Route 6, which is Grey Road 4 from Flesherton to Walkerton, was launched on October 5th. There was an inaugural transit ride with Warden McQueen, Mayor Sue Patterson, and also Mayor Peabody, who is the mayor of Brockton, and Adam McKechnie, who is the driver's seat owner, as well as myself. So certainly get the word out that transit is available for Grey County residents. Also, West Grey is hosting a drive-through Halloween party on October 31st, 2 to 4 p.m. at the Durham Arena parking lot. This is a free event. Please register. Check out our Westbury website or contact Cody Hewitt, who's the recreation supervisor. One other point of significance is that Westbury Council and Grey Highlands Council had a joint council meeting with regard to the RED funding and a really exciting initiative with regard to social enterprise. This is also, I must say, Fire Prevention Week, and the theme is Serve Up Fire Safety in the Kitchen. Thank you, Deputy Warden.
Thank you, Councillor Robinson. Councillor Hutchinson, anything to add?
Good morning, Mr. Deputy Warden. No, I think Mayor Robinson has covered all the points. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you all. There's a lot happening in our county. Good news for sure. I would be remiss if I did not give a shout out to our county staff. Approximately a week ago, there was an event in Hanover where there was a fire, and it potentially had an impact on many of our poor and vulnerable, disenfranchised individuals. And in a very short period of time, with just one phone call, it was really impressive to see the supports come flowing into Hanover from the county to support those individuals. So I just want to put a word out to those folks saying thank you very much. And I was so proud to be able to say, yes, there's our county at work. That's in particular our social services staff and our housing staff. Thank you very, very much. Okay. We are going to move on to item number 10 now, which is our adjournment. Moved by Councillor Burley and seconded by Councillor Hutchison that we adjourn. Any opposed? I'm gathering not. Thank you. All right. Does anyone